Tevrin wasn't supposed to be near the human. He knew the rules. Every alien cadet at the Intergalactic Research Station did. Humans were dangerous, unstable, not to be trusted, and definitely not to be bonded with. But the human wasn't like. The stories his name was Callum Reyes. He had dark eyes, calm posture, and a voice that didn't rise or fall. He was just still, quiet. He didn't fight. He didn't yell. He answered every question with slow, thoughtful words. Tevrin was assigned to monitor Callum through the glass of his containment cell. No direct contact, just observation. The council said it was for safety. But Tevrin felt something else behind the rule. Fear. On the third day, Tevrin made the mistake of looking into Callum's eyes for too long. It started with a soft pulse. In the base of his skull, a vibration, feeling like a whisper too low to hear. Callum turned toward him, head tilted, and said nothing, just looked. Tevrin looked away fast, but it was already too late. That night, Tevrin dreamed of fire. He was on a battlefield made of ash and cracked bones. Skies burned orange. Metal giants fell from the clouds. Screams echoed in every direction. He wasn't in his own body. Was in Callum's? He woke up gasping. His fingers shook. His skin was cold. His mind, however, felt full of things he didn't understand. The next day, he asked his station superior for reassignment. The request was denied. Why would a simple human unsettle you? Commander asked. Tevrin didn't answer. He didn't know how to explain that he saw the human's memories, that he felt them, that something had reached through the glass and touched his mind. He should have reported it. He didn't. He went back to the observation deck. Callum sat as he always did, silent, back straight, staring at nothing. You dreamed it too? Callum said without turning. Tevrin froze. I didn't send it, Callum continued. It just happens, if we're close enough. Yes. Tevrin took a step back. There's no bond. I didn't initiate one. You didn't have to, Callum said. You're curious. That's all it takes. That wasn't how bonds worked. They required physical contact, or at least shared intention. What happened between Tevrin and Callum should not be possible, but it was. Over the next 3 days, the dreams grew stronger. Not just dreams, memories. Tevrin lived through moments of Callum's past, a burning city, family lost in a flood, a mission gone wrong in deep space. He woke up exhausted, confused, emotional. He wasn't used to human emotions. They were louder, roar, messier. One night in a dream, Callum looked right at him, in the middle of the ruined battlefield. This isn't memory, he said. This is warning. The next morning, the station's AI systems glitched. Security doors opened and closed on their own. Lights flickered. Alarms played random notes. Nothing made sense. Tevrin reported the issues. The engineers blamed solar interference, but the station was inside a shielded orbit. No solar storms. Nearby, no logical reason, the glitch happened again and again. Then a science officer collapsed in the corridor. Her eyes turned black. For 10 seconds, she muttered something in a language no one understood. Then she woke up. No memory of it. Tevrin visited her in medical later. She stared at him with wide eyes. I saw fire, she whispered. A burning sky, and something watching. She had never met Callum, never even seen him. Whatever was inside Callum's mind, it was spreading. Tevrin confronted Callum again. You're doing this, he said. Callum looked tired. I told you, he replied. You bonded with me. I didn't ask for it. I've tried to shut it out, but the bond has a mind of its own. That's impossible. Tell that to the station. Tevrin wanted to walk away, cut the bond, isolate Callum permanently. But a part of him couldn't. A part of him believed that Callum wasn't lying that night. Tevrin stayed up late reviewing old files. Found classified records reports of other bonded humans. Every single case ended the same way. Sudden. Madness. Visions. Emotional instability. And in the final log of one report, A human subject whispered something strange. They're not memories, they're echoes. The file was marked for deletion by order of the Galactic Council. Tevrin knew he should stop, but now it was too deep. The bond wasn't just emotional, it was mental. A link that fed both ways, and then came the signal. A low hum through the CUM system. A soft pulse that made Tevrin's vision blur. The AI scrambled. Security turrets pointed in the wrong direction. The crew began arguing, shouting, accusing each other of sabotage. Callum, still locked in his cell, stood up and stared at the ceiling. "It's starting," he said. "What is—" Callum pressed his hand to the glass. "They're waking up." "Didn't understand? You don't think this was all an accident, do you?" Callum said. "The bond, the dreams, the visions, it's not random. We're not alone in here." Tevrin looked around. "You mean the crew?" "I mean here." Callum tapped his temple. "Inside us. The bond didn't create this. It unlocked it." Before Tevrin could respond, the lights went out. Total blackness. Alarms blared. The station AI voice glitched and looped. Memory corrupted. Repeating pattern. Memory corrupted. Then silence. A cold whisper entered Tevrin's mind. "It's mind." Callum's voice. Not anyone's voice he knew. "It's something older. We see you." Tevrin dropped to his knees, hands over his ears. But it was inside his mind, not outside. "The bond is open. The gate is unlocked. We are coming then." Light power returned. Systems stabilized. The damage was done. Tevrin ran to the command deck. Reports flooded in ships nearby had experienced similar events. Dreams, visions, system failures. All of them. You're humans. The council responded fast. They ordered the destruction of the station. Immediate and total wipe. Viren begged for time. He told them he could shut the bond. The council didn't believe him. "They're a virus," said the lead counselor. "Human minds carry things not meant to exist. We sealed Earth for a reason. You disobeyed?" Tevrin returned to Callum's cell. The human was quiet again. "They won't stop," Tevrin said. "They'll kill you. Destroy the station." Callum nodded. "I know." Adren leaned closer to the glass. "But why me? Why did the bond start?" Callum gave the smallest smile. "Because you asked why." Tevrin stood frozen. The alarm lights turned red. 1 hour until detonation. He had one choice. Break the rules again. Or run. He opened the door. Callum stepped out. Together, they ran. And behind them, deep in the black of space, something ancient watched through the eyes of every bonded mind, and it was waking up. The lights of the stolen ship blinked weakly. Systems were stable for now, but Tevrin didn't trust the silence. Silence meant the mind was preparing to scream again. Callum sat in the co-pilot seat, eyes closed, breathing slow. He hadn't spoken since they escaped the station, but Tevrin could feel it. The pressure. It was growing. Tevrin had felt stress before battle drills, zero-G failure training, even a close encounter with a solar flare. But this wasn't fear. This was pressure inside his thoughts, like his own mind was too small now. Something was trying to stretch it open. He gripped the controls harder and kept his eyes on the stars. Still no sign of pursuit. The council's ships would come, but not yet. They were hiding in a quiet sector near an old mining moon, far from patrol routes. He turned to Callum. "You haven't said a word. Are you still with me?" Callum opened his eyes slowly. "I'm here, but I'm somewhere else too." Tevrin didn't like that answer. "What does that mean?" Callum blinked a few times, then looked straight at him. "You've seen parts of my mind, memories, feelings, but you haven't seen the dark yet. Tevrin felt a chill creep down his arms. What dark? Callum leaned forward slightly. There's a space in the human mind we don't look at. We all know it's there, but we bury it, hide it under noise. Fear, pain, grief, those are loud, but they're not the deepest part. Tevrin's chest tightened. The bond is. Pulling it out, Callum continued. Not just from me. From you, too. I'm not human. You don't have to be. The bond makes minds universal. The rules you thought existed, they're gone. Tevrin stood and stepped back. That's not how it works. Bonds share memories, yes. Emotion, language, but not this, not the dark. Callum's eyes went distant. Then why are you seeing it? Tevrin opened his mouth to argue, then stopped, because Callum was right. The dreams hadn't stopped. They had gotten worse. Last night, he wasn't in Callum's past anymore. He was in a place, a real place, but one he had never seen before. Black towers, a red sky, no sound, not even wind. And in the sky, floating above it all, a shape with no name, something vast, watching. It hadn't spoken, but Tevrin had understood it. It had been waiting. He snapped out of the thought. Callum was still watching him. What is that place? Tevrin asked. Callum's jaw tensed. It's not a place. It's a presence. Some call it the old mind. Some say it was made by humans during the ancient wars. Others say it found us, and we never noticed until it was too late. You're saying it's alive? It's awake. And it uses bonds to reach across minds. Through time, through species. Through us. Tevrin's heart pounded. Sat back down, eyes darting to the console. Then why not just shut the bond? Break the link. Callum shook his head. It's not like closing a door. It's like lighting a match. Once the fire started, you can't unburn the flame. Tevrin looked out the window. Dark stars stretched in all directions. They were alone, but in his mind, he didn't feel alone. He felt watched. Then what do we do? Callum leaned back. We need to go where it all started. Run. Stared at him. Earth. Callum nodded. There's something buried there. A message. A warning. Maybe more. The old mind began waking when humanity left Earth, but the last piece of it stayed behind. Tevrin stood again and began pacing. The Council destroyed Earth, burned it, sealed it, erased it from all maps. They said it was contaminated. Maybe it was. You still want to go? Callum looked straight at him. We have no choice. The dreams are spreading. Others will bond. The more minds it touches, the faster it grows. Tevrin stopped pacing. And what happens when it grows too big? Callum's face darkened. It stops being a whisper and starts being a voice. The ship lights flickered. Just once. Tevrin froze. A low hum filled the air. The same hum from the station. Then the console screen glitched. Lines of text appeared in a fast loop code in dozens of languages. Some Tevrin recognized. Others he had never seen. Then a single word formed. Remember? Tevrin stepped back from the console. Was that from Earth? Callum stared at the screen, eyes wide. No, that was from inside. Tevrin didn't respond. The ship suddenly jolted. An alarm blared briefly, then stopped. Navigation lights dimmed, then returned to normal. Nothing in the logs. No nearby ships. Just a momentary shift. Callum stood. It's coming faster now. You feel it? Tevrin nodded, even though he didn't want to. His thoughts weren't his own anymore. Words slipped in. Images. Not always clear. Sometimes just feelings rage. Sorrow, fear, so deep it made his teeth ache. And beneath it all, curiosity. The old mind wasn't just watching. It was learning. Suddenly a voice came through the ship's comms. A weak signal. As to anyone receiving. This is Captain Alaro of the Urat-class freighter Thaler. We've encountered a problem. Our crew is experiencing hallucinations, dream loops. Ship AI is offline. Human engineer on board is unconscious. Please respond, the message repeated. Tevrin turned to Callum slowly. How far is that ship? Callum checked the screen. 6 clicks away. They stared at each other in silence. "It's spreading," Tevrin said. Callum didn't argue. Tevrin ran a quick calculation. The Thaler had a crew of 12, 1 human on board. 1 was all. He sat down at the console and punched in new coordinates. "Earth," he said. Callum nodded. "You sure?" "No," Tevrin answered. "But we've already gone too far." As the ship turned and entered warp, Tevrin looked back at Callum. "If this thing is in our heads," Callum finished the thought for him, "then Earth is the only place left it hasn't finished." The ship vanished into light, heading toward the dead planet and the secret buried beneath its ashes. Behind them, stars shimmered, and somewhere out there, the old mind smiled. Captain Alaro was dead. Tevrin stared through the cracked window of the freighter Thaler, drifting cold and dark in orbit above a dying moon. The rescue drone had pulled Elaro's body from the pilot's seat. His eyes were open, no injuries. Signs of pain, just silence. Callum stood beside Tevrin, staring down the hallway into the black corridor where the rest of the crew had vanished. 8 crew gone. Tevrin said quietly, "Only 1 human aboard?" "The engineer." Callum didn't answer. The silence on the ship wasn't normal. It wasn't peaceful. It was dead. The kind of silence you only hear in dreams or nightmares. They moved carefully, stepping over scattered tools and blinking consoles. The AI core had melted, literally, as if it had been overheated from the inside. No signs of explosion, just slow, steady decay. The walls were marked with drawing scratches in metal, circles inside circles, lines that made no sense. Some looked almost alive, moving when you didn't look directly at them. "Do you see that?" Tevrin asked. Callum didn't blink. "Yeah, I found the human engineer in the engine room, still breathing." Eyes closed. Hooked to a neural interface that had been offline for hours, his hands twitched. Callum knelt beside him. "Name tag says Dax." He said T.I. Ren scanned the man's vitals. Brain activity is off the charts. Higher than baseline dream state. More like ... a storm. Callum placed 2 fingers gently on Dax's temple. "We're inside already." "What?" "The bond isn't just between you and me anymore. It's using every connected mind. They're spreading through fear, memory, even tech." The AI was linked to Dax's brain. It caught the signal and burned out. Tevrin stepped back. "So, this isn't a virus. It's not biological. It's not digital." Callum stood. "It's conceptual." Tevrin frowned. "That doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to." This thing doesn't follow our rules. He paused. It rewrites them. Suddenly, Dax opened his eyes. They weren't his eyes anymore. Black, no pupils, no light. Just black. He sat up straight, speaking in a voice that wasn't his own. You brought it here. Tevrin drew his blaster but didn't fire. Callum didn't. Move! Who are you? Tevrin asked. The voice from Dax's mouth laughed, low, cold, and ancient. We are Echo, the memory of all minds. You lit the bond. Now the fire spreads. Tevrin's hand shook. He'd never seen possession before. It's not like this. This man is still alive, Callum said. Let him go. Too late, the voice replied. He saw the dark. He welcomed it. He will dream us forward. Then Dax slumped forward, unconscious. His vitals were stable. Tevrin checked again. The black in his eyes was gone. He's still in there. Callum nodded. But he's not alone. They left the ship fast. Too fast. Inside the stolen scout vessel, Tevrin sat in silence, gripping the controls tighter than ever before. This is worse than I thought, he said. Callum nodded. Okay. The more minds it touches, the stronger it becomes. Tevrin shook his head. This breaks every law of psychic science. How can a thought and idea spread like infection? Callum looked tired, older, because the idea wants to live. It doesn't care if it's real or not. It only cares if you believe it. Tevrin punched the navigation screen. We should have destroyed the body. Shut it down completely. Callum's voice turned cold. That man wasn't the problem. He was a doorway. You think burning the door stops the wind? Silence. Tevrin leaned back. I contacted the station. Callum stiffened. Why? I had to warn them. Tell them what's happening. You think they'll believe you? Tevrin didn't answer. He already knew the truth. No, they wouldn't. The council received Tevrin's report with immediate rejection. Unauthorized bond activation, illegal human interaction, suspected spread of psychic contamination, the report read. The punishment. Termination of both Tevrin and Callum, destruction of their ship, orbital lockdown of the entire sector. The sentence was clear. They weren't coming to help. They were coming to kill them. Callum watched the council's response without emotion. There. Scared, Tevrin nodded. They should be. Callum looked out the window. But they don't understand. Killing us won't stop it. The bond is already out. Tevrin felt pressure behind his eyes. Growing pulse. The same dream was returning, but he was awake. Callum. Callum didn't respond. His eyes had gone distant again. Tevrin. He whispered, What? Something's wrong. It's jumping. Tevrin's console lit up. Multiple ships nearby. Civilian, military, all broadcasting strange messages. Code repeating endlessly. Fragments of language. Words mixed with screams. And then, singing a child's voice, low and soft, singing a song in a language neither of them knew. Tevrin's pulse raced. It's hijacking communications, Callum whispered. It's not trying to hide anymore. Suddenly, a personal message came through the console. Encrypted. Council. Level clearance. Tevrin hesitated, then opened it. It was a face he recognized. Admiral Vors, his former mentor. The old alien's face was tight with fear. Tevrin, you're receiving this. Don't come back. The station is lost. They won't admit it. But it's already inside. Tevrin leaned closer. They tried to isolate the bonded minds. Failed. One of the commanders started dreaming in 5 languages, then spoke a name no one could understand. Our AI committed self-erasure. The Admiral paused. I think we were. Wrong about the humans? They didn't start it. They just noticed it first. Static. Then the message ended. Callum looked over. Still want to go back? Tevrin sat very still, then shook his head. We go to Earth. Callum nodded. But the stars outside the ship began to shift. Not space, not time, perception. Tevrin blinked and saw it, just for a second, a shape outside the stars. No eyes, no. body, just a thought. Looking back at him, it whispered, "The bond remembers. And so will you." Tevrin gasped. The vision vanished. His hands were shaking. Callum placed a hand on his shoulder. "You saw it too," Tevrin whispered. "What is it?" Callum's voice was heavy. "I think it's what comes after us." They didn't speak. Again, just watched the dark stretch ahead as Earth came into view, cold, cracked, and waiting. But somewhere behind them, the echo moved from mind to mind, and it was smiling. The ship slowed as Earth came into view. It looked worse than the reports. The planet was silent, blackened. Clouds didn't move. Storms sat frozen in place. The oceans were dull silver. No blue, no green, no life. Tevrin sat in silence. He didn't even touch the controls. He just stared. Callum stood beside him, his eyes cold and steady. "There's no signal," Tevrin said. "No heat, no power, nothing." Callum leaned forward. "Doesn't mean it's dead." Tevrin turned slowly to him. "It looks dead." Callum didn't blink. Sometimes dead things speak loudest. The ship began its descent into Earth's upper atmosphere. T-Run switched off all external beacons. Duh. They had no way of knowing who or what might still be listening below them. Broken cities stretched across the dark surface, roads eaten by dust, skyscrapers half collapsed. Forests burned to ash. Bones scattered in long-forgotten streets. They landed near what used to be Washington. DC, all that remained was concrete and silence. The wind moved strangely, stopping and starting without reason. Callum stepped off the ramp first. Tevrin followed. Weapon ready. There were no sounds, no birds, no insects, not even static from the coms. The planet was quiet in a way that felt wrong. Like the pause before a scream, they moved through the ruins of an underground facility. Callum said it used to be a human defense center. One of the last. Built to hide secrets too dangerous for the stars. Back when we still thought we could fight this thing, he muttered. "What changed?" Callum asked. Callum stopped beside. A crushed stairwell. He placed his hand on a metal wall. "We realized it doesn't fight back. It just waits." They found a sealed door at the bottom of the ruins. Still powered barely, Callum entered a code. It worked. The door hissed open. Behind it was a room untouched by time, clean air. Unburned lights. Consoles still working. A hologram flickered too. Litha, human scientists, stood in midair, frozen in a loop. "Do not bond with humans." "I repeat, do not," it glitched. Then continued, "The presence is inside us. Memory is no longer private. Every thought can be infected. Protect your species. Avoid eye contact. Avoid empathy. Avoid dreams." Then it looped again. Tevrin stepped back. Was that a warning? Callum looked down. No, that was too late. Suddenly, a comms alert blinked on Tevrin's wrist. "Incoming transmission, council channel." Tevrin looked at Callum. "They found us." He answered. The face of Counselor Vetra appeared cold, sharp-eyed, her skin pale blue and lined with metal implants. She didn't look angry. She looked afraid. "Tevrin," We're in violation of Intergalactic Code, Section 11, unauthorized bonding. Harboring a Class 3 human, trespassing on a forbidden world. Tivernay's voice was calm. You don't care about laws anymore. Vetra narrowed her eyes. You brought the infection back. Callum stepped into frame. We didn't bring it. You just tried to bury it. Vetra ignored him. Council forces are en route. You are ordered to remain where you are. If you attempt to flee, you will be destroyed. Tevrin clenched his jaw. You can't stop this. It's already spreading.
Then
We'll burn everything, she replied. You, the planet. Every bonded ship. We've done it before. The feed cut. Tevrin stared at the dark screen. They're going to wipe Earth, he said. Callum nodded. With us on it, we should leave. Callum didn't move. We finish what we came for. Tevrin looked back at the door behind them. What's in there? Callum didn't answer right away. He walked toward the final security lock and placed his hand on a reader. The door opened. Inside was a single seat and a machine, not alien. It's not military. Old, human-made, but humming with power. Tevrin stared. What is that? Callum stepped forward. They called it the thought engine. Tevrin frowned. What does it do? Callum looked down. It amplifies the bond. Tevrin's voice dropped. You want to use it? Callum nodded. The council wants to silence us, cut the connection. But if we amplify it, push it to the edge, might reach everything. Warn others. Show them the truth. Tevrin shook his head. Or make it worse. Callum sat in the chair. We don't have time to be careful. Tevrin took a step back. Callum, this thing is in our heads. If we let it speak through us, it could take everything. Callum didn't argue. Then why did we come? Tevrin looked at the screen showing the approaching fleet, then back at his friend. And something changed. He heard the voice again. Soft in his thoughts, we don't destroy. We remember. Tevrin took a deep breath. Okay, let's finish it. Callum placed his hands on the machine's control pads. The lights dimmed. The air grew still. The thought. Engine activated. Tevrin felt it before he saw anything like gravity shifting sideways. Then the world vanished. He was standing in a black field, stars above, silence below. Callum stood beside him, but so did others. Hundreds, thousands, aliens, humans, even machines, all bonded. All watching, and across from them, the echo. Not a creature, not a god, just a shape made of every memory. They had forgotten it looked like everything and nothing, and it spoke. We were never the enemy. Tevrin tried to breathe. What are you? The echo replied. We are what happens when minds stop being alone. The vision ended. Tevrin gasped, falling to his knees. Callum collapsed beside him. The machine sparked. Burned out the signal. Had been sent, not to a planet, to every mind open enough to hear it. The council fleet arrived too late. They saw two figures in a dead bunker. But the bond was already out. Not a virus. Not a weapon. A memory that could not be erased. Tevrin looked up at the dark sky, and for the first time, didn't feel afraid. The signal didn't just leave Earth, it exploded from it. All across the system, old satellites blinked back to life.
Oh, damn.
Dead ships powered on. Ghost stations, abandoned for centuries, lit up in perfect sync. Every device with a memory chip, a recording, log, or a basic AI sparked with the same sound, a single word spoken in thousands of voices. Remember. Tevrin felt it in his bones. They were still inside the old bunker, but the walls didn't feel solid anymore. The ground felt lighter. Time didn't move normally. Callum hadn't spoken in 10 minutes. He sat with his back against the thought. Engine, eyes half open, breathing steady but slow. Tevrin paced the room, hand to his head. We sent it out. We really did. Not just a message. Something deeper, Callum whispered. The echo knows where to go now. Tevrin stopped. It's not good. It's not bad either, Callum said. It's change. Suddenly, the bunkers. Power died. Total blackness. Then, a soft white glow lit the center of the room. A projection formed, but it wasn't from the council. It was a child, human child, maybe 8 years old, standing barefoot in the middle of the floor. Eyes glowing. Silver, voice calm and clear. You made it, the child said. We've been waiting. Tevrin raised his blaster. What is that? Callum stood up slowly. Not a real child. It's a signal form. A living memory. The child turned to him. Correct. Tevrin didn't lower the weapon. What do you want? The child didn't smile, didn't blink. You've done what others were afraid to do. You bonded without fear. You opened the gate. Callum stepped forward. Why us? The child tilted its head, because you didn't try to control it. You listened. Tevrin lowered the blaster. What gate? It's coming through. The child's voice dropped. Not what, who. The bunker walls flickered. For a moment, the illusion dropped. They weren't in a bunker anymore. They were standing in an ocean of stars, floating ruins, machines turning in slow spirals. Giant stone rings, salient, ancient humming, quietly and in the center. A sphere of light. Tevrin felt his mind stretch. Just looking at it, Callum clutched his head. I know this place, he whispered. I've dreamed of it, the child said. This is the core memory. It's the heart of the old mind, hidden in the deepest layer of the bond. Every species has a version of it, but only humans carried the key. Tevrin stepped back. Why us? Because humans forget, the child said. And forgetting creates room for something new.
Oh.
For something shared. The illusion faded. The bunker returned. The lights flickered again, this time red. Warning. A ship was approaching. Fast. Council class. Heavy. Weapons. Callum walked to the console and checked the readings. One ship. Not the whole fleet. Tevrin frowned. Scout. Callum zoomed in. His face changed. No. It's a warship. The signal from the ship played automatically. Counselor frayed again. Her voice came cold and firm. You have 1 minute to surrender, or we fire. Callum didn't answer. Stared at the screen. That's not a warning. That's a death sentence. Callum nodded. She knows the signal spread. She wants to contain it. Tevrin turned to the thought engine. We can't use it again. It's burned out. No need, Callum said. The message is already out. Now it's time to show them. He opened the comms manually. Vetra appeared on screen. You have disobeyed council orders. You've unleashed a thought-based contagion across 6 sectors, and this is your final warning. Callum didn't flinch. You can't stop it. You can only try to understand it. Vetra leaned forward. You think this is about knowledge?
This
is about survival. That signal infects every mind it touches. You've seen the effects: breakdowns, hallucinations, language collapse, emotional fusion. You're creating chaos. Tevrin stepped in. No, we're creating connection. Vetra's eyes narrowed. You're both infected, Callum replied softly. No, we're free. The screen went black. The warship powered up its main cannon. Blast charged bright. Pulsing, Tevrin stepped back. This is it. Callum closed his eyes. The bond pulsed. Once, twice, then. The sky tore open. Above Earth's orbit, a ring of silver light appeared like a scar in space. From it, ships began to emerge. Not council, not human. Something else. Shapes made of light and metal, alive, but not biological. Each ship carried the same signal. Remember, Vetra's warship paused, weapons still hot. Then, her ship drifted. No fire, no message. The bridge had gone silent. Callum opened his eyes. She heard it. Tevrin looked at the glowing ring above. "What are those?" Glenn whispered. "The original bonded. The ones who first opened the gate long before us. They never left. They just waited." Tevrin sat down slowly. "You didn't just send a message." Callum nodded. "We call them home." Outside, the echoes spread not in violence, but in silence. No war, no invasion, just a voice soft, steady, speaking to every mind that dared to listen, and this time they did. The ships in the sky didn't attack. They didn't speak. They just hovered, silent shapes made of shifting metal and energy, forming a perfect circle around Earth's orbit. Their presence wasn't aggressive, but it wasn't passive either. It felt watchful. Tevrin stared at them from the cracked control panel of the old Earth bunker. His hands trembled slightly as he adjusted the sensors. "They're not scanning," he said. "They're listening." Callum stood nearby. Arms crossed, eyes half closed, like he was concentrating on something far away. "They already know everything," he murmured. "They knew before we even finished the broadcast." The echo just needed someone to say the words out loud. Tevrin turned. "So now what?" "The council knows. The signal is spreading. Those ships are in orbit. What happens next?" Callum opened his eyes slowly. "The awakening protocol." Tevrin blinked. "What's that?" Callum pointed to a nearby console. It was ancient, dusty, unused. Until now. Its screen was glowing with a soft blue light. "That system's been dead for decades," Tevrin said. Callum walked to it. It was never dead, just asleep. As Callum touched the screen, something unlocked deep within the facility. "What?" Rumble shook the floor. Air hissed through long-sealed vents. Old systems came online one after the other. Lights flickered in distant corridors. Machinery began to hum. Tevrin looked around warily. "Are we waking up everything?" Callum nodded. "It's not just a message anymore. It's a restoration. Memory is being rebuilt." A voice crackled from the console. Not the council. Not the child projection. This voice was older, mechanical, but with a strange warmth. "Protocol A9 confirmed. Awakening sequence active. Core species, human. Bond integrity, 87%. Secondary species, validated. Multi-connection field initializing. Adapt. Backed away. I don't like the sound of that. Callum didn't move. This was the failsafe. The last gift humans left before the collapse. It couldn't stop the echo, so they locked it away. But if the bond ever returned, if someone listened again, the system would open. The voice. Continued cross-species synchronization engaged. Memory vault access granted. Begin alignment. Suddenly, Tevrin grabbed his head. A sharp pain hit him behind the eyes. He stumbled backward, gasping. What is this? Callum turned to him. The alignment. It's downloading. It's downloading what? Callum took a shaky breath. Everyone's memories. Not just human, alien, machine. The entire galactic archive, connected through the echo. It's giving it to us. Tevrin collapsed to his knees, eyes squeezed shut. Images flashed through his mind, worlds he'd never seen, languages he'd never learned, faces he didn't recognize, laughing, crying, dying, wars, births, dreams. Make it stop. You can't stop it, Callum said, kneeling beside him. You can only accept it. Above them, in orbit, the bonded ships began to shift. Panels opened. Soft pulses of light moved between them in perfect rhythm. In response, signal beacon on Earth flared to life. The child projection reappeared in the bunker. You're experiencing phase 1 of the shared memory stream, it said. The pain is temporary. When it ends, you'll understand. Tevrin gasped. Understand what? The child's silver eyes looked right through him. Why the council feared us. A massive sound shook the earth deep, like a mountain groaning in its sleep. The ships in orbit were sending the signal back, amplifying it, not just to the galaxy, but to the core worlds. Council strongholds, Imperial archives, peacekeeper fleets. Every place that once denied the bond was now being forced to feel it. Vetra watched in horror from the warship's bridge as her crew clutched their heads. Some collapsing, others crying, a few just whispering words in alien languages they shouldn't have known. She screamed at the system, shut it down, kill the comms, block the feed. But it was too late. The awakening protocol was wired into the council systems themselves. It had always been there, buried, dormant, waiting for a signal. And now, Galaxy remembered. In the bunker, Tevrin lay on the floor. Chest heaving, he finally opened his eyes. His voice was small, broken. I saw everything.
Callum helped.
Him sit up. Do you understand now? Tevrin nodded slowly. We never lost the war. We lost the truth. Callum smiled faintly. Exactly. The child projection spoke again. Stage 1 complete. Stage 2, reconstruction. Tevrin's eyes widened. Reconstruction of what? The child said. Of us, of the bond, of everything you forgot you were. Suddenly, deep under the bunker, a new sound began to rise. Machinery moving. Large machinery. Callum stood. They're rebuilding. Tevrin got to his feet. Rebuilding what? Callum's voice was quiet. The next phase of civilization. One where we're not divided by species, or fear, or memory. The echo will link us forever. Turned to the sky, the ships were changing shape again. Long arms extending from their cores, connecting with energy beams. A web of light forming above Earth, the child said. This is your last chance to opt out. Tevrin looked at Callum. I don't think I can go back to not knowing. Callum nodded. Neither can I. The child smiled for the first time. Then, remember this. You chose this path. Willingly. That makes all the difference. The signal pulsed again. This time, it didn't hurt. It felt like peace, like warmth, home. The echo was no longer just a voice. It was a world, and it had awakened. The council chamber had never been silent before, not in all the centuries of its rule, but now. The grand hall carved into a floating moon station, orbiting the galactic capital, stood in total silence. No lights, no voices. Just darkness. And the low hum of emergency power counselor Vetra sat at the edge of the long table, watching as the last transmission flickered and died. All over the galaxy, the echo was spreading. Worlds that once feared humans now remembered what they had shared with them. Planets once loyal to the Council now turned their antennas toward Earth. It was like gravity. It was pulling everything back, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. Vetras. Second-in-command Kale stepped forward carefully. Orders, Counselor. She didn't look at him. Where are the remaining fleets? Kale checked his holopad. 17 active. 4 have broken ranks. 3 are no longer responding. 10 still loyal. Barely half, Vetra said, and all of them infected. By the echo, Kale swallowed. It's not infection. They call it awakening. Vetra finally turned to him. It is infection. It's a weapon we never saw coming. Not lasers, not bombs. But thoughts, feelings, memories that aren't ours. She stood slowly and looked out the wide glass panels, where once they could view entire star clusters. Now, all she saw was static. The bond was banned for a reason, she whispered. It makes enemies into friends. It erases hierarchy. Dissolves control. Kale looked nervous. Counselor, what if that's not a bad thing? Vetra's voice went cold. Leave. He hesitated, then turned and walked out. Vetra stood alone. She knew what had to happen. If she couldn't stop the spread of the bond, she would stop the source. Back on Earth in the forgotten bunker, Callum and Tevrin worked non-stop. The core systems beneath them hummed louder every hour. Machines long buried were reassembling themselves, powered by something older than electricity, something connected to the bond itself. Callum watched a data stream flow past his screen. They're responding. Over 300 worlds, some haven't spoken in centuries, but now they're talking. Not with words, with memory, with feelings. Tevrin paced. That's good. That's what we wanted, isn't it? Callum nodded, slowly. But there's something else. Tevrin stopped walking. What? The echo is growing faster than expected. It's evolving, not just connecting species. It's rewriting neural pathways, giving people access to thoughts they were never meant to feel. Some aren't ready. Tevrin frowned. You mean they're breaking? Changing? But the change is too fast for some. Before Tevrin could answer, a loud alarm screamed from the console. Callum jumped forward. Someone's entering Earth's atmosphere. A single vessel. Tevrin leaned in. Let me guess, Council warship. Callum nodded. They both looked at each other. She's coming to finish it, Tevrin said. No, Callum replied. She's coming to try. The child projection reappeared. She won't come alone. Callum turned to it. What do you mean? She's bringing a countersignal. A severance code. Tevrin's heart skipped. She wants to cut the bond. The child's voice was calm. She will try to force disconnection. If she succeeds, the echo dies. And so does the memory. Callum clenched his fists. Then we have to stop her. The ships in orbit, the awakened fleet responded immediately. He began forming a shield pattern over Earth. Vetra's ship, sleek and deadly, entered lower orbit, ignoring warnings. She sent no messages. No threats. Only one final signal. Last chance. Disconnect. Or be disconnected. Callum opened a private link. He stared into her eyes through the screen. You don't have to do this. Vetra's face was pale, tired, but her voice was steady. You're about to destroy order across the galaxy. You don't see it now, but chaos always follows too much freedom. We held the line for centuries. Now you've undone it in days. You're afraid of what people might become, Callum said. But they're already becoming it. Vetra leaned forward. Then you've left me no choice. She activated the severance code. A wave of black light erupted from her ship fast. Silent, invisible to the eye but deadly to the echo, Callum shouted, "She's doing it." The child projection raised its hands, preparing counterfield. The walls of the bunker glowed. Earth itself seemed to pulse. But it wasn't enough. Systems flickered. Machines collapsed. Screens went dark. Teverin fell to his knees. I can't hear them anymore. The voices are gone. Callum reached for the thought engine, but it sparked. Damaged. The severance code was working. Vetra's signal tore through the connection. Like fire through paper, the child's voice slowed. Echo, falling, failing. Then silence. A moment Earth was dark again. No signal, no bond, no connection. Callum sat in the stillness, and then he heard it faint. Small but real. A single voice. Not a projection. Not an AI. A memory. His mother's voice, laughing from long ago. He looked. Up sharply, Teverin gasped. I hear something too. The echo wasn't gone. It had gone deeper, below code, below logic, into the bones, into the heart. Vetra's severance code could only break. No one spoke for a long time. The stars above Earth blinked quietly. The warships that once aimed their weapons at the planet now floated without threat, caught in a strange stillness, like they were. Thinking, inside the old Earth bunker, the lights had dimmed again, but not from power loss. The system had entered a new state, one not of warning but of waiting. Callum sat on the floor beside the thought engine. Teverin leaned against the wall, tired but calm. They had won, but it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like the moment after waking from a long dream, confused, quiet, and full of questions. She couldn't break it. Teverin whispered. No, Callum replied, because it wasn't just code anymore. It was us. The echo had changed. It was no longer a signal sent through machines. It had moved into the people themselves. Memory had become part of the living. Emotions now traveled faster than light. Understanding could now grow without words. The Council's oldest weapon division was no longer useful, and they knew it. Vetra was gone. Ship drifted in low orbit, stripped of control. Some said she left the galaxy. Some said she stayed behind, hiding, unable to face what she had almost destroyed. But the truth no longer needed her. The truth was everywhere now. Callum and Teverin stepped outside the bunker. It was dawn. Actual dawn. Sunlight pushed over the hills. The Earth, long forgotten by galactic history, now felt alive again. Behind them, new structure was rising where the old cities had crumbled. Machines were rebuilding, guided by echo-born designs or capture from human memory mixed with alien efficiency. It was beautiful, organic, flowing, and at its center, a new kind of meeting hall. One not for rulers or military leaders, but for anyone who had bonded. They called it the core, a place for voices, a place for connection. Aliens once called enemies now stood side by side. They didn't just speak to each other, not always perfectly, not without confusion, but the effort was real, and that made all the difference. Callum looked at the sky. They're coming. Teverin nodded. I know. I feel them too. Hundreds of ships. Some small, some massive descended. Through the clouds, not in attack, not in fear, but in hope. Representatives from thousands of worlds. Some had once hunted humans. Some had never even heard of Earth. Now they came as guests. Callum stepped forward as the first ship landed. Its door opened slowly. From it walked a creature of glass and bone, its eyes glowing like deep water. It bowed. I am Vesh. I come to understand. Callum smiled and extended a hand. I'm Callum. I'll help you remember. Others followed. More ships landed. More voices spoke, and the core came alive. Inside, a circle of chairs, no throne, no stage, just equal space. Callum and Teverin sat down first, then Vesh, then more and more. Soon the room pulsed with emotion, memory, fear, and courage. But also, not everyone bonded immediately. Some were afraid, some resisted. That was okay, because now there was no forcing. No control, only the invitation to feel, to share, to remember. Back in the bunker, the child projection watched silently from a fading console. You did well, it said to no one. The system around it began to power down for the last time. There was no need for it anymore. The echo no longer needed machines to speak, because now it lived inside everyone who had ever listened. As the stars turned, as new worlds joined, as old wounds healed slowly but surely, the story of the bond became a new kind of history, not told in books, but passed through connection one to another, in whispers, in dreams, in moments where enemies looked into each other's eyes and saw themselves. This was what the Council had feared. This was what humans had left behind, and now the galaxy remembered. They were never meant to rule each other. They were meant to bond, and at last they did forever.